Good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Good morning. Welcome to this special podcast, Broken Not Shattered, the BNS PODCAS this evening. To all our guests, wherever you are in the world, I hope you're having a wonderful day. It's I and my co-host, OBG. We're back in the house. Obi has been on exile, guys. Listen, we're not going to talk about Obi for a second, because if I start talking about Obi, it will take up all our time. Obi now says he has moved out of the island. He now lives in Togo, somewhere in Lome. I don't know what Obi is, but whatever it is, Obi, you're welcome back to Rokum Not Shattered. How you doing, buddy?
I'm good. Diversity is the spice of life, so it's good to diversify. You stay here, you stay here. It's all right.
Diversity is the spice of life. Obi, today our topic is finding your voice and inspiring others to find their voice. And we have one of the greatest. Yeah, what do you say?
I agree with you.
Yes, finding your voice and inspiring others to find our voice. And I think personally, we have one of the best in the house, as long as I'm concerned. To me, I think, and I am not being biased, right? This is a very clear decision that I have made and concluded that this guy we're bringing in to speak to us this afternoon is one of the top psychiatrists in the DMV area. I know he's very humble, he doesn't want to admit to it, but as long as I'm concerned, he is. Not only is he a top psychiatrist, he's also a pediatrician, and he is one of the best in the business. When you talk about someone who genuinely cares about people, this is the great man to speak to. And if we're going to talk about finding our voice, man, why don't we just bring in our guest, Dr. Ike Ogbuebile, who is one of the top psychiatrists in the area. Welcome to BNS, Dr. Ike. What's up, buddy?
I'm good. I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
Good. This is your boy Obi. He now says he lives in Togo.
Obi, greetings in Togo.
Obi.
Bonjour. Bonjour.
Bonjour to you.
Bonjour la passe.
So I would say to you, je m'appelle Obi, je suis novice. Merci avec moi. I know you don't know it, but don't worry.
You said my name is Obi. Yeah, I understand it's a small French.
Yeah, see. Okay, Obi. Since you've now found your voice in French, the topic today is finding your voice and inspiring others to find your voice. What does finding your voice mean to you, Obi, when you hear that word?
Yeah, so it's good you started with me moving into Togo, and I'm going to tie it to finding my voice. Now, this is at the point when I discovered that anything is possible. And finding your voice is about you beginning to speak. Now, you could not speak when you're not so sure of yourself, but at that point, when you've discovered yourself, then you can speak. Now, what are you speaking? You're speaking of some of the things you're too sure about yourself. There was a time when I was too timid that I cannot try possibilities. But now I see so much possibility. I know that nothing can stop me. If I can give it a try, if I can believe it, I can succeed in it. Wow. I've been able to move from point A to point B, and it worked out. So moving to point C is just something I have done before. And this is where I would tie finding my voice to.
Wow.
It is not about possibility that moved me to Togo.
So in other words, your own take is very simple. You've done it before, you can do it again.
Sure.
Right.
That's about
psychiatrist. A lot of people, and I'm going to come back in a few minutes. A lot of people struggle with finding their voice. What does it mean to you to find your voice from a perspective of mental health or just generally life?
I think finding your voice is about authenticity and recognizing who you are, not trying to be pretending to be someone you're not.
That's
until
cool.
You know who you are and you're talking from a place that is really and truly the truth. People will recognize that. If you start pretending to be what you're not, then people know that that's not really your voice.
That's right.
No matter what you say, no matter what you claim, do as I say versus do as I do, they're going to know that's not your true voice. and you'll have problems even articulating it. But when you actually have to take the time to, spend some time and recognize who you are and what you really and truly stand for, it's easy for you to talk.
Wow, I completely agree with you. That's one. I think it's the uniqueness of that, understanding who you are as a person, understanding who you are as an individual, and regardless of the noise that is out there, being able to own yourself and say, you know what, this is who I am, and this is the authentic me, and be able to speak with that voice. The sound of that voice is what attracts people to you. It's your charisma, it's your personality, it's who you are. And sometimes you have to get to the point where you have to be able to stand up and own that voice in the midst of adversity.
Right.
You have to own that voice in the midst of challenges. You have to own that voice when times are tough and challenging, right? And be able to say, this is who I am, regardless, right? And life just has a way of being life.
Right.
What do you do with your voice when life has thrown one of life blows to you? How do you respond to that? That's right.
Oh, what do you do?
Yeah, well, I mean,
Wow. When life is just showing you life.
When life is just showing you life. And because life will show us life. We found out today, right?
Right.
That everything else is smoke.
Right.
So life will definitely show up and be life.
Right. And there's some places, from experience, having lived in Nigeria and having lived in, in the US and Canada, there are some places where I think life will show you even more that life is life. Nigeria will show you that the life Nigeria will show you that. And I think the most important thing is digging deep and going back to as you said, your inner self, and recognizing that all the strength within you comes from God, as we know, as we discussed this morning at church, and recognizing that just being really and truly who you are and having confidence in yourself to realize that no matter what happens, you will get through it. And one thing I know that I learned in Nigeria is resilience. That until I went back to Nigeria for medical school, my life had been very, very easy. Everything went well. I got everything I wanted. I got every award, every position. And they went to Nigeria, and Nigerians showed me shege. Nigeria showed me I wasn't going to get anything in Nigeria. But, it's easy to give up and quit and just say, I'm going to go back to Canada when I was in medical school in Nigeria. But as long as you're resilient and stay strong and believe in yourself, then no matter what happens, you've got to move forward like most Nigerians. Nigerians are some of the most resilient people in the world, that you'll be able to get through it.
Wow. Resilience. I like that word. I think that word is a very authentic word. I know from my own personal journey in life, everything that I've gone through, and I've been through a lot. I don't talk about it most of the time, but I've been able to stay consistent, right, and be persistent. I think also something about life is timing. We get caught up in the future, but we should focus more in the now. I think it's very important. The now of our lives is what we have, right? But you see people trying to project way ahead, right? Recently, I was talking to someone, and someone was asking me, why are you celebrating? Why are you really celebrating? Is it 60? Is it 50? Is it what is it? Why are you trying to celebrate? And I said, I'm celebrating now, because tomorrow is not promised. You see it all the time. Not everyone is going to live to 70. Not everyone's going to live to 60. Tomorrow is not promised. So life is about where you are now, right? And we should understand that that's all we have is the now. And make the best of the now, so that if you see tomorrow, there's a foundation to move to the next level. Obi, what's your take on that?
So I agree with you. So Doc, you define, I would say this is about self-discovery. Self-discovery, when you're able to discover yourself. And you also have people discovering themselves. Just like Dr. Doc defined an area of people with that word, resilience. So people from this area have that resilience in them. Yes. Now, what happens when life happens to you? Now, also know that before you discovered yourself, before you get to the point of discovery, life must have been happening to you in order to enable you discover yourself. So it is, a period of life happening to you and you paying attention to it that gives you the opportunity to discover yourself. You've been able to check what is consistent about you and to know that this is who you are. And so, in time to come, when life repeats itself, you're able to discover that thing which is about you that you can tackle life with. So life doesn't become so difficult again when you've discovered yourself.
Wow.
When you know who you are, you're speaking from the place of who you are, so you can try whatever you want to try, knowing this is it's just about what has happened before. I can do it. This is about me.
Yeah, I can agree more with what you just said, Obi. Why is it important, Dr. Ike, then, for us to find our voice?
Why is it important to find? That's a good question.
No, what? Yeah, we know what it is when we find our voice. Why is it important to find our voice? You know what, guys? I think we should just take a short break, and then when we come back, we will look at that question and find out why is it important for us to truly find our break. Let's just take a quick break and then come back and on Broken Not Shattered.
Oh, you can't
Okay,
go.
we're back on Broken Not Shattered. This is our afternoon show and podcast, and with me in the house is OBG, my co-host, and Dr. Ike Nauchi, who is top psychiatrist in the DMV area. Our topic today is finding your voice and inspiring others to find their voice. I just asked the question before we went on break, why it is important for us to find our voice. Dr. Ike.
I think it's important to find your voice so you can, once you find your voice, it's kind of like knowing who you are. So once you find your voice, you recognize the path you should be on. You are able to move in that direction, knowing that it's coming from a place of sincerity and honesty. And also when you find your own voice, it's easier for you to help others to find their voice. The most important thing I think is about authenticity and recognizing being who you are and knowing it's okay to be who you are.
I think finding your voice means also standing. Why is it important? Is because it helps you stand out. It separates you from the rest of the crowd, right? And makes you who you are, like you said, unique in your own way. And that uniqueness is basically who you are. Let's talk about something else, because I know a lot of people struggle with self-esteem, and in the process of self-esteem, because of their struggle with self-esteem, they try and shy away. They always say to you, "Oh, I don't want to talk in public. I don't want to be seen in public." But I think it's an esteem issue, right? If you are in a good place, Dr. Ike, you can actually speak to that. Why do people struggle with self-esteem? And tell us more from from the psychological part. What is it? What's going on?
Well, I think a lot of the problems I see with people who struggle with self-esteem usually from childhood. Maybe they grew up it could be different situations, or they grew up in a household where the parents weren't very, very motivating or positive. They spend most of their time criticizing versus encouraging and supporting them. So they grow up feeling like they're not good enough. I had a patient here who was a full U.S. Army colonel, an Oyibo guy, and he was top of his class in the Air Force Academy, top of his class all the way through. But in school, he always got if you got 100% in the test, the parents would say, "Well, why didn't you get the bonus questions?" And he never was ever good enough. So he grew up with a grown man who is now a full colonel and top of got promotion to come to the Pentagon, and he still had no confidence because he never felt he was good enough. And the day that he was referred to the hospital, he was curled up on the Air Force psychologist's couch in the fetal position because he had been overwhelmed with a panic attack. And it all came from, when he came to the hospital, all came from him not believing he was good enough. And he was freaking out at the idea that he was now going to got this promotion to colonel, and he wouldn't be able to do it. Meanwhile, he's always conquered every every difficulty in his life and always come out on top, but he still never felt he was good enough. And it always comes from childhood and then a couple of experiences along the way. So having that support and surrounding yourself with people who are supportive, who believe in you, is absolutely essential to building more confidence.
Wow. Let me stay there for a second, Doc, because I think it's important that we discuss this. One of the things when I started this podcast, a lot of people didn't see what I was trying to do. They felt that I wasn't in a good place to even start one, right? It took me a long time. It took me a long time to even start speaking, right? To come back and gain my voice again, something that I know that I was born with, right? To become, to create a platform to support people. But gradually we've grown, right? As we speak right now, Dr. Ike, I can tell you we have 115 people watching us, 115 people. And I bet you before the end of the show, that number always goes up, right? When I started, it was like if nobody believed in it. But I was consistent and persistent. Even people that were very close to me felt that I was just wasting time and wasting space, right? But that's how life is. So you always think about what it is that has been given to you. To the doctor to the colonel who just never had someone speak to him. A lot of us can relate to that. Growing up in some ways. Maybe you and I, or maybe in Obi's case, we had parents who were very good at affirming us and ensuring us that as young men or young boys, as much as we were knuckleheads at that time, they always spoke life to you. I can say for certain my dad, I was like almost the rebel of the home, or my dad always spoke life into me. He said, you're just like me. You're the son that I can count on, all those things. And I remember them as an adult, and it helps me in who I am today. What am I trying to say here, Ike? What I'm trying to say here is that, isn't it so difficult when people who are so close to you don't believe in what you're doing and don't believe in your dream and don't support it because they can't see it? Isn't it so? I mean, how do you navigate that? How does this guy who has done everything to the class but still believes that he's immediate, how do you overcome that voice of negativity, that unsupportive voice? How do you, Obi, we just reached 220 as we're speaking. I mean, that's a blessing that I have 220 people around the world listening to me right now, right? So we're touching lives. I want you guys to speak to them. How do you overcome that?
Can I go first?
Yeah, please.
Please forgive me to say this. I wanted to say this when Doc talked about the need, why we should find our voice. Finding our voice is like music. You trying to find your key. When you find your key, it becomes pleasant to the ears that listen to you. Then people can give you ears. But when you don't find your key, it's noisy. People can't believe you. Now, in finding your voice, it saves time. That is the importance of finding voice. When you find your voice in the journey of life, you save time. In the journey of life, you find strength. It gives you strength to push you forward. Third, success is assured. Fourth, you have peace of mind. Now, how do I encourage people who have these issues? Remember I said ab initio that life will continue to happen to you. And life happening to you is the series of several things happening to you that enables you find yourself. You find what is consistent and positive about you. You see it and you begin to believe it. Now, what do I have to tell people based on my experience? I have been there when nobody believed in me. I have been there when I myself didn't even believe in myself. But I got to a point that what I needed was just to believe in myself, even when no other person believed in myself. So you have to get to a point where you will begin to encourage yourself from the inside, where you will see yourself as a one-man squad. It is you in this life and no one else.
Wow.
Irrespective of what people say about you, irrespective of what people believe about you, what is your God saying about you? What
Amen.
do you yourself believe about you? You must come to that point where you believe yourself against what people think about you.
And I think I
Everybody
think
must.
I think that settles it. Obi, you are so spot on. You must believe in yourself, regardless of what it doesn't matter, Dr. Ike. It doesn't matter, Obi. You just have to believe in yourself. Once you believe in yourself, if you get that extra support, it's a blessing, right? It's just
Yes,
believing in yourself. At the end of the day, it's just you yourself and you yourself. Dr. Ike, you were saying something.
No, I agree 100% with what Obi said. It all comes from you. The when you're around people who will bring you down, and I remember when I was in university in Nigeria, there were people who would always go out of their way to say something negative. They would, they no matter what's going on good, there's always some people with bad belly that would always be putting you down, digs in you to make sure that no matter what it is you're doing, they always find a way to put you down. The ones who say to you, oh my God, you're looking so good, you're looking so fat, you've gained so much weight, and they're smiling like it's a compliment, but they're really trying to put you down. I remember when I was in medical school, and we had me and some of my friends who were at that point big boys on campus. We had failed our medical school exams because we were having too much fun. There were guys who came to the medical school board to see the results who knew all of our matriculation numbers, and these guys would say they had checked our results before we came back to campus. By the time I came back to campus, I was walking. There's one guy with four or so girls. The guy said, hey, congratulations, hey, I know you passed. Hey, congratulations. And I'd tell the guy that, no, man, I failed the exams, et cetera, et cetera. He goes, what do you mean? Of course you passed. We talked about, hey. The guy raised my hands up in the air and was, hey. And then I had to say, no, I didn't pass the exam. Why didn't you pass the exam? But you were studying all the time. After like 5 minutes of explaining, the guy said, okay, no problem. And he walked away. Then another guy came up who was there, said to me, this guy told me 5 minutes ago before you came up that he knew that you failed the exam. And that was those are kind of nasty, disgusting people you'll find around you. And those people, there'll be so many of those people, those haters, who no matter what you do will always be against you. And you've got to go back and you got to dig deep inside you and remember exactly who you are and not allow those people to get to you. It's so important that it comes from within. If it doesn't come from within, you've got to have a couple of people that you really and truly trust. And it's always hard because we always assume that the people who are going to give us the most support and will always be there are our family. Sometimes it's not our family. Sometimes those are people you have to avoid. So sometimes when you have dreams and goals, the last thing you want to do is you want to keep those dreams and goals close to yourself and don't tell everybody.
Yeah.
Don't have to convince people.
Yeah. I see that one about timing and when to speak up. I think it's very important. You don't want to speak ahead of time because someone can easily. I remember when I started my magazine many years ago. You were there, Ike, when I started in Case magazine, which obviously has now metamorphosed into In Case Consulting. That was a dream that I had, but I spoke to my dream and brought it to the surface to people that I felt that were in my inner circle at that time, and I shared it with them. But they didn't believe it. They had their own plans, their own agenda. And what I was talking about was not exactly what they wanted to hear. It was not what they wanted to see. And so they just kind of, in their own little way, just knocked it, right? But I had to believe in what I believed in. And that was the results I began to see. 550 people are currently watching this show. That's how it started when we started out. No one believed in what Obi and I started grappling around with. And I told Obi, stay consistent. Yesterday when we were at the event, in the Autism Ally Award night, a story was told by the CEO of Reynolds Caregivers, and she said the lady next to her, the recipient of the award, said to her, "Look around." Remember, it says, "Look around this room right now. There will come a time that you will look back and say, wow, how did I start from this small room to build this big multi-million-dollar empire?" Right? And it's that kind of support, that kind of person that will say, I can't be the face of this. You're going to be the first face of it, but I will journey with you, right? And those people you can never take for granted.
Right.
because they're very, very, very rare. That is, if there's anything you should do for people like that, is to cut off your right arm and say to them, without you, I will never be me. Never, never, ever take people who are that supportive in your world for granted. I think you might as well just walk alone. If you know, and I've learned in life that when those people come into my space, regardless, I do not take it for granted. May I say this in public if I can? Obi. When Obi came into my life, initially, asking him to tell you, I didn't want to have Obi in my life. But Obi was persistent that he wanted to come and work with me. And today, because of how loyal Obi was to me when I was out in that part of the world building this organization, no matter what happens between Obi and I will always be there for him.
That's right.
It's not about how good he is. It's about how good he was to me. And in my world, when you're loyal to me and when you're good to me, regardless of your flaws, because I'm a flawed man myself, I will never forget. Ike, yes, full disclosure, you're my cousin, but you're also my closest friend. It was how good you were to me. And that is what, anytime you call me and there's anything I can do, I will do it. When I didn't believe in myself, you believed in me. And I have seen how you genuinely express happiness and joy as I progress. If anyone truly loves another person, the Bible says, there's no greater man than he that puts his life down for the love of another. That means you have to sacrifice your own personal feelings and your own personal needs sometimes just to love another. They might not be where you want them to be. They might not be in a relationship that you want them to be in. They might not be driving the car that you wish that you would have wanted to drive. But just because they're doing well, you're happy for them. Genuinely happy for them. And that's true love. And thank you, gentlemen, both of you, for being there for me. And I hope that as God gives me all the strength and all the wisdom that I have, that I will also be there for both of you. Obi, you want to say something? This is
quite an emotional.
Obi, and tell them how good I have been to you. If I sound
I'm telling you, this is just an emotional moment for me. I feel like crying right now.
You don't have to go there.
So, but that is the truth. It's as if you're saying what I had wanted to say. You know, this wasn't me when I came to you. I've said it before on this platform that I wasn't like this. I wasn't so twitched like this, you know. But when you picked me up, you did what most persons could not have done for me. You told me something. You said, Obi, every mistake is a teachable moment.
Correct.
In fact, you began with, Obi, we're gonna do brush up. So you brushed me up. I didn't know much about the corporate world. You made me your business development. Even
Wow. Oh, sorry, Obi just got cut off there. Maybe
you made me your business development. Even when I do not know what that title was all about. You taught me step by step, precept upon precept. For the first time, I ate from the table, from the same plate with my mentor. Could you remember the day you brought food, you made food in the kitchen, and you brought it to the dining, and you told me, bring your food, bring your spoon, let's eat. And I was shocked. I said, no, I never ate with my parents. I never ate with any of my elders. I said, I can't try that. I said, please remain for me, I will eat. He said, no, I want you to eat with me. And that changed my life for good.
I saw a lot of potential in you, Obi, and I'm glad that you are growing to be the guy that I actually saw. You had it going on. There was nothing. Someone did it for me. I had to pour back into someone else. I'm very humbled, actually, as you're saying this, because there's no airs about it. Without the opportunity that others have given to me, I wouldn't be where I am today. So thank you so much for acknowledging me publicly. But I want to acknowledge you. You're the one. You're the one that were willing to take it on. You're the one that wanted to be coached. You had that hunger, that drive, and I saw that hunger and that drive. And I knew that all you just needed was to take out those rough edges and then shave your beard, and you look like you'll be able to become the great man that you are there. I saw you as a single man. You got married, staying with us, and you had your baby staying with us. So now you're a father, a husband, and so there's a lot. It was there. It was there. It was just needed nurturing. Just like Ike nurtured me when I got to University of Jos. All right, guys, I'm going to leave Dr. Ike to have the last word. Dr. Ike, you have the last word. We don't want to run out of time. It's 31 minutes and we're done.
Okay.
Well, audience.
Obi, I saw you kind of tearing up. Ike did the same thing to me yesterday and gave me an award at the Autism Ally thing, which actually did make me cry on stage receiving the award. So don't mind, he's a bushman. We're gonna make him cry soon. Don't worry. But yeah,
he's good at that.
You are so humble. You've always been humble. You've always treated people the same. You've always taken care of others, and you are the most wonderful cousin, friend that I could ever have. You've been a blessing to so many people, and God will continue to bless you because you are everything people see in front of them. This is who he is. Just a suggestion for another show, the law of attraction. I'd like to come back for that one. The law of attraction basically states that whatever you think about is what you attract. And I need a whole show to talk. We need a whole show to talk about how your thinking guides your life. And you think about from the Bible when they say that ask and you shall receive. So we need to also, apart from making sure we find our voice, we've got to make sure that we start attracting the right things and making sure that we get rid of negative thoughts, always think positive in the direction of where life wants to be. But thank you guys for having me. I really appreciate all of you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ike. Hey, why don't we just do this? The law of attraction. Can we handle it next weekend? Could that be our show?
I think so. That'd be good.
Okay, so hey guys, Mayowa, Hannah, David, the rest of the team. Who am I missing? I'm missing somebody. I've got Hannah. What's her name? Favor. There you go, Favor. All of you guys, you just heard our guest to say that next week our show is the law of attraction. I want you guys to start now putting that whole machinery in place. To all our guests all over the world, those of you in Qatar, thank you for staying up and watching us today. We have been celebrating Autism All Month, Autism Acceptance, and we've come to the end of the month. And I want to thank everyone who has been on that journey for us. As we move into next month, we're going to start talking about relationships. And that relationship will begin with Dr. Ike as our guest next week. Let's talk about the law of attraction. Hey, the law of attraction. Hey! All right. For those of you in London, I love you guys, my family out there, friends and loved ones, the guys in Nigeria and other parts of Africa. Thank you for supporting. Please, please, please take this opportunity. Hit the like button. Let's get these numbers up. The more people that show up on this platform, the more content we have. We have 436 people watching us right now, and we can grow to 4,000 people very easily. We have a voice, and we're inspiring others to have a voice. Thank you, gentlemen, for being here with us as we've spent this last 30 minutes telling folks to find your voice as we have inspired others to find your voice. Be authentic. Be your real self. And please, let me end this with my famous 3 words. Love, peace, and more grace. See you next week, guys, on Broken Not Shattered. Subscribe.